our fight is not the first MMA fight in China. It's not the first. It might have been the first display of technical jiu-jitsu, but it wasn't the first MMA fight in China. Okay? And what happened was during the summer, there was another one of these like events where people got together and just fought. I wasn't in Beijing at that time. Okay? I forgot where it was, but I know I wasn't in Beijing. And one of my students went and fought against somebody from Xu Xiaodong's camp. Okay? It was fought to a draw. There was no winner, and it wasn't exactly a brilliant display of jiu-jitsu. In my student's defense, the other dude was a lot bigger. For a guy who wasn't that well trained in jiu-jitsu, he had been only doing jiu-jitsu for like not even a year, and being smashed on his back the whole time, he defended himself perfectly. He didn't take any damage. I can honestly say that if he didn't know jiu-jitsu, he would have had his ass handed to him. He would have been like in serious trouble because he would have just been like pinned on the ground and just had his face bashed in. You know what I'm saying? But he was able to defend himself, didn't give any space, was always changing angles. And the people who organized that event, they contacted me. They're like, we're getting ready to do another one of those things. And, we're wondering if maybe, you'd like to represent jiu-jitsu. Yeah, okay. I'll do it. Number one, I saw the fight that my student did that at the last event. And I was like, man, if people see that and they see jiu-jitsu, they're not going to really, they're not going to say, wow, that's something that we want to train. Even though my student did a great job at defending himself, right? But it just, come on, you're pinned on the ground. It just like from a spectator standpoint, it wasn't like spectacular. By 2003, I had been training jiu-jitsu for 6-7 years. If you started training jiu-jitsu at the time that I started training jiu-jitsu, which is the early days of the UFC and the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Academy, then everybody who started jiu-jitsu back then learned jiu-jitsu because they wanted to know how to defend themselves in a real fight. It wasn't because they wanted to score 2 points or 3 points or 4 points. And, like that wasn't even popular that didn't even exist, I don't think. So they said, hey, you want to represent jiu-jitsu? You want to come fight? And I said, man, I want to test myself. I got to see if this works. At least once in my life, I got to see if jiu-jitsu works. So I agreed. Then the opponent that they paired me with was with Xu Xiaodong. So yeah, we fought. At the end, I caught him with an armbar. And what maybe a lot of people don't realize is that in the opening like 3 seconds of the fight, he throws a high roundhouse kick, and he breaks my forearm on the left side of my arm. He not clean through, but just the outside bone, and which is why you don't see me throwing any strikes at all with the left hand. There was a period of time on the ground where he caught me in like a head and arm guillotine, and the only way for me to get out was to throw these little rabbit punches. But they don't really do anything. Every time I punched, I could feel the bone moving inside my forearm. It was quite painful. So it was pretty ineffective. Then when I finally got to the mount, I just tapped him a few times because it was. The thing is that match was being broadcast by Beijing Sports Channel, BTV6. BTV6 is the sports channel for Beijing television. It already looks bad if you're mounted on somebody bashing their face in. You know what I'm saying? I wanted people to see the fight. I didn't want BTV to censor it. So rather than punching him too hard in the face, I tried to smother him so that he would push me. Because I knew that if he pushed me, he'd have to straighten his arm.
Yeah, that's right.
And if he straightened his arm, he'd give me a chance to armbar it. Right? So these were all things that I thought about before going to the fight. My goal was to show people that jiu-jitsu was an awesome martial art, that you could use it to defend yourself, and that it's not violent. It's not violent. If you look at the fight, I got more hurt than he did. So yeah, that's how that happened. And I think that's probably the first time that people in China were introduced to jiu-jitsu. Right? The Gracie style, I don't even say it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I say it's the Gracie style of Jiu-Jitsu. Because most people in China, when they think of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they think of it in a gi with passing for 2 points and butt scooting. That's what they think about. That's what they think jiu-jitsu is. Yeah, but it's not. That's not what jiu-jitsu is.
I don't think any of us on Fight Commentary Breakdowns or any of the channels knew that it was broadcast on television. The match was broadcast on television, which makes me
think... It wasn't a live...
Go ahead.
It wasn't a live broadcast, right? It was... They had to, you had to submit it ahead of time to censors, right? Because all TV stations in China are they're like state TV stations. They're all owned by the government. So you had to get it past censors. Now, having said that, if the censor approves of it, it's going on TV. I knew that we had a chance to get it on TV, right? So, because there was a guy from BTV there who was filming everything.
Did you see your students, the number of students for your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school? Did you see them increase a lot after you went on television?
Yeah, sure. After it was on television, definitely it helped with the bringing more students in, with promoting jiu-jitsu in China, definitely.